You're listening to Event Industry Insider. This is Paul. There are so many opportunities to be had in networking, but are you taking advantage of them?
Is that be tactical in who you sit next to. If you spent the networking reception prior, with a good handful of people and they want to sit with you, that's hard to say no to, so I get that. But maybe try to sit with somebody else. You've already made 4 or 5 great connections. Try to find a table of people you haven't met that might be good connections for you.
Joining me now is one of the movers and shakers here in the Twin Cities event industry. She is Vice President of Marketing and Communications at MPI, holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Hotel, Tourism, and Restaurant Management from UW-Stout. She is also the Director of Events and Programming at Twin Cities Wedding and Event Professionals Networking Group. We are so happy to be speaking with Elizabeth Sherry. Nice.
TCWP, I was happy to be in its infancy with it. But if you were to ask, like you mentioned, when I started networking, my answer and my mother's answer would probably be when I was able to speak. So networking is something I've been doing for a very long time. And then I say that as I look across and I see a framed thing from high school where it says I'm going to be a future politician award. So I guess there's something to that at an early age.
So everyone vote for Elizabeth Sherry.
Yeah, exactly, for whatever maybe office I run for. Exactly. But TCWP, what I really appreciate about finding it so early, especially early on in my career, is that it helped shape the importance to me of what networking is, that it's the backbone to, I would say, my career path. But to many others. So I think networking is really underrated. I think people even use it as a butt of a joke sometimes, but it is absolutely the perfect way to not only meet the right people, but learn and be educated by those individuals, not just by the topic. You're going to go to this networking event and then maybe learn. So that is truly my overview of networking, is just stressing its importance. But I would say with today, one thing that I really want to tell people about is just finding those opportunities in networking whenever possible. So it's really hard to describe. And so as I said that I was a kid networking at a young age, you really could at high school level, at even younger than that. The opportunities are endless to network. And I remember making friends with my teachers. And to this day, I still know them and connect with them every now and again because they were a part of my network. And they've helped, boost me to where I am today. So
you have an interesting view of that there. I'm curious, can you give me like a little bit of a definition of how do you define networking?
Networking, and using the word opportunity again, I would say it's any opportunity for you to connect with an individual and keep that connection going in what other fashion you can, whether that be a mentorship, a LinkedIn relationship, just having their business card in your desk and you check in with them every now and again, or you see them at an event every now and again. That is, I think, the importance of networking and what that means, in my opinion. So it's not necessarily I'm networking and I'm shaking hands. It's the network of people you've created throughout your life, throughout your career path, and use that when you can. And you hope that people use you when they need to, lean on you for something, and that way it gets exchanged.
I love that.
I was thinking for networking things that, and this is going to sound really silly, but I'll start off with one of my biggest tips when it comes to networking.
Oh, please do. Yes.
Okay. It's a little crazy, but it works every time. And it works for me maybe just because it's my personality, but I say wear something fabulous. And I mean that in a way where in any type of situation of networking, try to find an organic opportunity to connect with somebody. And if somebody connects with you first, it makes it all the more organic. So when I say wear something fabulous, I mean wear a statement piece where somebody, it just rolls off their tongue to be like, oh my gosh, those shoes are amazing. And then I would be like, oh, that's so nice of you to say. And I'll say where I get them. And then you just started a connection, again, feeling organic, not immediately sales pitchy. So in my career, that's been my little tip and trick, is to wear either shoes or jewelry or a statement piece outfit.
I mean, I'm thinking even of the 10-year anniversary gala, and the dress you wore. It was like a knockout.
Yeah, it's red.
It's red, and it's like, it's beautiful, and it's in your face. Not in your face like in a bad way, but just it's like it's red and it's bold and it's it's like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm sure you got a bazillion comments on it.
Oh, it was easy for one of those things where it's like, oh, I have a question for Elizabeth. Where is she? Oh, she's the big red blob walking across. There she is.
She's in the fabulous red dress. Yes, yes. So I totally see what you're saying.
Okay, I would say one of the ones that I think folks don't realize is that the impression that you're already making before you step into the event is network before you are actually at the event. And think about when you get in your car or you leave your car and you're going to the event and you're in the elevator or you're walking and there's someone else walking with you. High probability, maybe because it's the start time of an event and the location, they might be a part of that networking event. Start networking there. Again, it's that organic time frame. You're both going to the same location. Take advantage of it. You have, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes of you walking in the same pathway to a registration table together. I think that those are the most undervalued and underutilized because right there an impression starts. If someone is in a bad mood or they're angry on the phone or something like that, maybe I don't want to network with that person anymore. So just be on right when you get to the event. We know networking events can take different shapes and you could have different opportunities within them. So one of them is if it's a networking event and you're in a mingle style reception or in a crowd, it's a little bit harder. I think it's not as organic to go up to somebody. It feels uncomfortable, but still try. And maybe you're still wearing that fabulous item and someone hasn't said anything to you yet. So that organic approach didn't work. So still go up to somebody and say, hi, my name is Elizabeth Sherry, and I work for the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. And what is your name? And then shut up. That is the best thing you could possibly do. If you need to do a follow-up question after that, what do you do for work? Let them speak to you first if you started it. Don't come in and say your name, I'm Elizabeth Sherry, and then go on for 2 minutes about you. That feels like you're being talked at, not having a conversation with. So I really want to emphasize that piece because that, again, is that impression. It's like, oh, okay, this person likes to talk about themselves, and then your perception of that individual is that. So you have to take advantage of those first impressions while you can.
I'm laughing. Yes, I'm laughing because I can think of a few people in my life where, they walked up to me and it's like, I don't think they ever got my name.
No, exactly. And it's no fault. People are nervous in those circumstances, but if you're wanting to network and be successful at it, don't be nervous. Try to feel comfortable as much as possible. And then as you said, they don't catch your name. That would be my next kind of thing with this circumstance is catch their name. In that mingle style format, it is the hardest thing to do, but be the person that does. Be the person that remembers their name. And if for some reason you didn't catch it in that quick second that they said it, feel free to ask it and be like, you know what, I'm so sorry. Can you say your name one more time for me? And people understand that. Just remember to get their name. And if you ask again, you better remember.
Yes. That's a really good tip, actually. I like that.
Yeah. And, someone told me that the best way to get somebody's name, because you can't say, oh, I'm bad at names. That doesn't exist. You're bad at names because you're too much in your head and you're not actually listening. So they told me, they said, just shut up your head. And I think you used the word shut up now in this podcast twice, but apparently you just need to quiet your brain.
I like it.
Actually listen. And that's something that I, ever since that person told me that, because it was bold in my head at the time too, it sticks with me. And then now I'm like, oh, I just need to shut up in my head and listen to this person's name. One of the things with networking is that sometimes there just needs to kind of be a natural leader that emerges in those types of situations. So when you get to a table, be that person that if this introduction doesn't already happen, go around and shake everybody's hand or introduce yourself and make sure everybody gets that equal time. I think a lot of times people will sit down at a table and not know who they're sitting next to, and how awkward is that, and how awkward do we feel at that event. But if you took the time to meet the people all around the table, you feel 100% more confident and better about the event that you're at because you feel a little bit more at ease. You know who's around you. I don't know what it is, but it is something where you need to know who's next to you to actually feel like you belong.
Oh, I love that. I've sat
You
at those tables. Yes. Where the person next to me, and then I waited a little too long. And then you're just like, I'm just going to stare at my plate.
Exactly. And what that was too is that no one at that table took charge to make those introductions happen either. Because again, some people are nervous or they don't want to do that, or maybe it's not their place to make everyone do that. It is your place. You can absolutely start that conversation and say, "Hi everybody." It doesn't matter if you're not a part of the planning committee or board or anything like that. Say, "This is my first meeting and I would love to know everyone I'm sitting with." And make it about them again. So I would say in that situation, highly recommend that. And then a tactic that I do too, and this is not to the discredit of who's already sitting. So I like to usually wait until everyone's seated or a majority of people are seated, is that be tactical in who you sit next to. If you spent the networking reception prior, with a good handful of people, and they want to sit with you, that's hard to say no to, so I get that. But maybe try to sit with somebody else. You've already made 4 or 5 great connections. Try to find a table of people you haven't met that might be good connections for you. So that's my recommendation too. Be one of the last seat, 2 seats, 3 seats left at a table, and plop down and then do that welcome introduction once everybody's there.
Well, that's really
Um,
clever.
and that one, again, it's not to the fault of whoever's there, and don't think that it's like, oh, I don't want to sit next to that person. It's not that. It's just I want to take advantage of the time I have here to meet more folks. Or if you feel like you made a great connection at the networking reception and want to take that time at the table to go further, that's fine too. Absolutely makes sense. So that's just one of my little tricks there too.
Before I let you go, I'm just curious because most of these tips deal with like the event itself, but it's begging the question in my head,
Oh.
follow up. Do you have any thoughts
Mm.
for people with that?
I think follow-up could be a couple different approaches. In my role right now, sometimes when I get emailed by somebody to say, "Hey, I'd love to have coffee or lunch with you," I could see where that's going, and I want to do that follow-up, but maybe it's not the right time for me. Maybe I'm in, deadline mode with an event that I have coming up. It's just not the right approach. So I would say to do it in case you are under a crunch time and you only had time to network that one day, but still want to follow up, just those business cards that you made, those connections, at least add them to LinkedIn. And here's why I like that approach. It's just a non-confrontational. Is because now you're following them. Now you'll see their stuff in their feed. They come front of mind. You come front of mind for them. And it just makes it so when it is time for you to connect again, you'll see it and be like, oh, yeah, I really wanted to grab dinner with that person or lunch and just never made it happen. So I would say that's just the best kind of non-confrontational way to just dive in after as a follow-up.
I absolutely adore that answer. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, we are out of time. So I really appreciate, Elizabeth, all of your tips and insights, and it's making me excited to talk with you more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk with you again. You make me feel very smart, even though I think my level of speaking only involves around networking.
Well, that is why we are here. Well, I really look forward to talking to you again soon, and we'll see you really soon, actually, at the upcoming TCWP event.
That's right. Thank you so much, Paul.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. For more information about Elizabeth, log on to tcwep.com. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our monthly newsletter so you can stay in the know of all of our monthly events. We will see you soon.